If you spend any time looking for poetry online, you're likely scrolling through a saturated market of bite-sized, heavily stylized micropoems. These offer a quick hit of dopamine and some easy escapism, but because they're designed for a 3-second attention span, they often struggle to leave an impression once you close the app. Compare that to the classical Urdu or Hindi poetry of figures like Ghalib or John Aliyah. Their work doesn't allow for passive scrolling. It requires intense focus and a significant time investment. For many modern readers, those classical texts feel like a fortress. The archaic language and cultural distance make them difficult to approach without a specialized background. This leaves many readers stranded in a middle ground, settling for shallow accessibility or feeling locked out of serious lyrical depth. That brings us to a debut collection called Kavish, Ek Kavyatmak Kosh. This book positions itself as a deliberate rejection of modern pop poetry trends. The author, Hitesh Kazaka, is a Mumbai-based civil engineer. To process profound emotional experiences, he turned away from contemporary formats and leaned into heavy, Sufi-inspired themes. The book centers on an uncompromising look at the internal self, but we have to consider if that emotional toll is actually worth your weekend. We are going to look at the specific psychological profiles this collection is meant for by examining its emotional anatomy. Because reading Kavish represents a specific trade-off, you are choosing to spend your mental bandwidth on a heavy internal journey rather than a casual distraction. The primary theme driving this collection is an unyielding focus on extreme, almost uncomfortable isolation. In poems like Wo Tanha Kamra, or That Lonely Room, the physical environment acts as a direct extension of the author's interior state. Engaging with this requires you to sit with difficult, isolating thoughts without expecting a resolution or a happy ending. You can see this perspective clearly in Sukoon or Akela May. Instead of trying to escape loneliness, the text explores finding a specific type of peace within it. By refusing to look away from these darker corners, the writing creates a space for readers to sit with their own grief, potentially offering a form of validation that more optimistic works avoid. If you are seeking light-hearted motivation, this material will feel burdensome. But if you are already in pain, it provides the sense of being seen. The reading experience itself presents a structural challenge, its heavy, traditional linguistic footprint. While the book is printed in the Devanagari script, the vocabulary is deeply rooted in complex Urdu and traditional Sufi terms. This density is immediate even in the table of contents, with chapter titles like Alam-e-waj and Fana. This isn't a book for skimming. You will encounter linguistic friction that forces you to pause and consider the gravity of the couplets. However, that effort yields a melodic, culturally rich reading experience that feels connected to a longer literary history. The heavy vocabulary serves as a deliberate feature to ensure you slow down and reflect on each line. We also have to consider the book's specific approach to romance, which functions as a homage to historical, tragic tropes. The author connects his experiences to a specific poetic lineage. In Aine Ke Us Par, he explicitly references the influence of Joan Elia. This is written as a series of long-form, prose-like letters, a nostalgic format contrasting with the short bursts in contemporary poetry. By calling on the names of Sahir and Amrita, the text frames romance as something all-consuming, fatalistic, and highly dramatized. Readers looking for modern, pragmatic relationship advice will likely find this hyper-romanticized tragedy out of step with current reality. But for fans of classical shairi, this approach successfully connects ancient suffering to modern loneliness. Looking at these patterns together, Kavish functions more as a mirror for self-confrontation than a simple means of distraction. We can map this book to 3 specific reader psychologies to help you decide if it fits your needs. If you are an old soul craving lyrical depth from a contemporary voice, this book is a perfect match. If you are a healing heart currently navigating profound solitude, this collection will serve as an understanding companion. But if you rely on books strictly for light escapism or quick motivation, the melancholy weight will likely cause you to abandon it. Knowing when a book is the wrong fit for your time is just as important as knowing when it's the right one. For poetry purists and those processing a sense of loss, Sarker has crafted a beautiful and aching literary world. If you matched with the Old Soul or Healing Heart profiles, you can find the link in the description to purchase your copy. Step into the author's solitary world, and you might just find pieces of yourself inside.